Hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. In the last episode, we spoke to Varric, the Iron Bull, and Cullen. It was all very interesting stuff. Varric finally gave us one of his companion missions, Seeing Red. Now then, next up, we're heading to the tavern. Knock knock. Hello, Sera. Oh, yes. I do love this one. I love this one. Oops, excuse me. Hello.
Chasing mages, that's a Templar's job. A big, armoured, pissed-off helm polisher. Not too late to go find some. Or stay home.
Yeah, I'm still inclined to leave this until we have all the allies. I guess, tell me about, wait a minute. Is this just the elven thing?
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
It is just the elven thing. No, thank you.
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
Nope,
Hey, it's you again.
It is. Tell me about your friends.
You apparently have a lot of friends. Tell me about your network.
It's not mine, right? I mean, it is, but it's also everyone. Everyone who wants to shove it to nobles who hide behind gold and silk. And hats, I guess.
What does your group do? Was there ever a Red Jenny? I expected people... Did we? Did we? I don't think Aenor did, but go off. Yeah, we'll go from here. What does your group do exactly?
Are you just about pranks and revenge, or is there more to it?
Well, it's a weave, right? I grease a ballroom, so a wyvern chasing Git has to hunt Sprained. Strangely, handmaids leave his vault open. His heirlooms pay off someone else. Maybe clean streets in Kirkwall so someone gets something else. Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually get help or a laugh. Or maybe someone dead, if they deserve it.
You pretend that's moral. Good to know. So you're also killers. Ooh. It's between these two. Here, I do think Aenor takes issue with the Red Jennies because, on one hand, yes, you have this group and they're looking out for the little people. That's great. However, one, you're demanding payment, so your help, is it genuine? Is it genuine, or do you just want to get paid? Like... And also, you're not... What's to stop someone from lying? What's to stop someone from lying to a Red Jenny and someone who is perfectly decent gets killed or badly hurt? Like... There is so much that could go wrong here.
So, who decides who deserves it? You? By what authority?
Look, Dukey cuts the stable boy's finger off for snagging a biscuit. He's eating an arrow for tea. Deserves it. Most times, it's just fun. And embarrassed is the same as dead for some. Anyway, assassin's a bard's job, innit? No fun, that lot. They might plonk a noble, right? But only to raise another. Plus, I'm shy at singing.
Yeah, and was there ever a Red Jenny?
Is Red Jenny real? Or was she always just you and your friends?
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, red is scary because blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, right? It don't have to be so complicated.
Do you share the blame too? That seems too casual. Someone must be in charge. I mean, according to the codex entry we got from Josephine, it really doesn't feel like anyone's in charge. It kind of feels more like it's separate groups that are using the same title. this person is in charge of Kirkpool, this person is in charge of Tantervale, this person is in charge of Denerim, and so on and so forth, but they're all using the same name. So it just seems like kind of random people in random places. Ooh. Okay, I'm drawn to this. I think Aenor, she wants to know more about the organization. I don't think she approves of this. I think she is kind of like, this organization sounds weird and kind of shitty, and I don't... Like, it's just too... Oh, it's Sera. Sera was never again. Yeah, I don't think Aenor would trust this organization with much of anything.
Doesn't this mean people think you're guilty of more than you actually do?
Suppose. Does it matter?
Shouldn't it?
Important people kill over imagined insults. I've made more than enough real ones, so no. I don't suppose it does.
Okay. This feels odd. You know, I'm gonna say that Josephine asked Aenor to ask Sera this. You know, Josephine came to us with some reports and said, oh, you told me that she was bringing people. We haven't seen them. What's going on with that?
Where are the people you promised?
If I knew, they wouldn't be much use. That's sort of the point. Look, unless your baddies are rocks or trees, they have people they use. Cooks, squires, wipers. Yeah, I know, wipers, right? You better believe the one with wipers deserve it, right in the... Well, anyway. The little people will be there when you need them, in a million little ways.
Okay. Do they even know what you do? So it's strength in numbers. How do you get anything done? You have someone who's vaguely in control of an area and they get all the shit done. They coordinate with everyone. Here's the thing. In some ways, this doesn't matter. Do they even know what you do? Because, like, Aenor likes the idea of the Red Jennies as a concept. But again, she's kind of like, the execution of it just kind of makes me wince and cringe, and I don't think it's right. It's... From a regular person's perspective, they have this shitty boss, and then at a party, the shitty boss's trousers fall down and everyone laughs at them. That person is like, that's probably going to make their year. They're going to have this huge smile on their face. They're going to like, oh yeah, my dickhead boss got embarrassed. That's great. It doesn't matter that someone orchestrated that. You will have made that person's day. You will have made them better, and maybe, you know, like she said, embarrassment can be worse than death to some people. So maybe that might make that noble act a bit better. Not necessarily nicer, but, you know, he'll be more embarrassed. And that might affect his behaviour somewhat in a positive way for his servants. Could also affect it in a negative way. He could take out his anger on the servants, but, like, whatever, go off. I don't think it matters if people know there's someone out there embarrassing nobles, because that embarrassment will make the little people happy. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. I'm drawn to this one, either way.
So lots of little contributions add up in the background, like snowflakes that snap a branch.
What? Sure. Like snow, I guess. Anyway, it just works, most of the time. Friend of a friend and little hints. Mind you, you still have to be smart. Don't bet your life unless you're into that. To be clear, I'm not into that.
Yeah, it's the most of the time it works. So when are the times when it doesn't work? When are the times that, you know, people take advantage of the Red Jennies and an innocent person gets hurt? Do you compensate the families in that case? Because I highly doubt it. As long as it works, I still don't get it. Sounds like I can't. Again, I don't think I can go for this one. I think she just doesn't get it. She just doesn't understand it.
No, still not making sense.
Doesn't have to. Take it or don't. Imagine you're looting random crates if you like. You seem to find that satisfying, you know?
Aenor does. Aenor does like looting random crates.
We'll talk another time.
It's all good, innit?
Aye, aye. Now then, Solas, an elf who makes more sense. Talk to me. Talk to me, buddy. Hello.
Greetings.
Tell me about the Fade.
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
Okay, tell me about the Breach.
I'd like to know more about the Breach.
Simply put, it is a tear in the veil between this world and the Fade, allowing spirits to enter the world physically. Small tears occur naturally when magic weakens the veil, or when spirits cluster at an area that has seen many deaths. But your mark allows you to exert some control over the Breach. That means it was created deliberately.
And can you tell me about the Veil?
I'd like to know more about the Veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade, but according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
That sounds marvelous. That sounds strange. That sounds dangerous. Ooh. I've said this before. Aenor doesn't understand magic. She looks at her keeper and the first and, you know, the things they can do. And she is a bit in awe because this is... magic is something that she cannot touch. It's not even like a case of, oh, look at them doing this amazing thing, but like one day I can learn. It's like, no, I can't even touch that. That is something I will never be able to do. And I think she is kind of in awe of magic. She's very interested in it. She doesn't get it. She's certainly not going to fuck about with it because, again, she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand that. She's not going to push a button if she doesn't know what the button's going to do. She's not going to fuck about with magical gubbins if she doesn't know what the magical gubbins is going to do. But I do think she is very intrigued by it. She's very much like a, ooh, ah, oh, like that's kind of her thought process. Oh. Yeah, magic is dangerous. Magic is dangerous, but the big-ass sword she has on her back is dangerous. You know, she's not going to judge someone with a sword. She's not going to judge someone with fire in their hands until they start launching it at her head. Imagine if spirits entered freely, if the Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind. It would be like being in a living dream, almost. I think that's something Aenor would like to see. I don't think she'd necessarily want everything to be like that all the time. But again, I think she has a lot of... Like I said, I think she likes to watch mages. They're doing something she will never be able to do. And she does... You know, it is like this magic... Well, of course it's magical, it's magic. Dodoy, use a better word, Callista. It is this amazing, wonderful thing that you should still treat it with some caution and respect. But I'm drawn to this. It does sound strange. All of these things do kind of work. That does sound strange. She doesn't understand it. that does sound marvellous. She's rather intrigued by magic because it's something that she cannot do or touch. And that does sound dangerous because magic is inherently dangerous, you know? But again, Aenor always gives a chance. She wants to see how something is before she judges it. Even if it is strange, I think she would like to see that.
It sounds like it would be wonderful.
And dangerous. But yes, a world where imagination defines reality. Where spirits are as common as trees or grass. Instead, spirits are strange and fearful. And the Fade is a terrifying world touched only by mages and dreamers. I am glad that I'm not alone in seeing the beauty of such a world, along with the obvious peril.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that wasn't, you know, that sounds wonderful. Like, I think that is very Aenor, you know, like, yeah, oh, that sounds amazing, all of the things you could do, but it wasn't like that sounds amazing, nothing bad would happen there at all. Like, everyone's been like, oh no, there would be danger. There would be danger living in a world like that, but a world where reality is defined by imagination, that would be a lovely thing to witness. Yeah, okay, tell me about demons.
I'd like to know more about demons.
The Chantry says that demons hate the natural world and seek to bring their chaos and destruction to the living. But such simplistic labels misconstrue their motivations, and in so doing, do all a great disservice. Spirits wish to join the living, and a demon is that wish gone wrong.
Can we change that? I don't believe that. I don't care. Again, this is... Aenor has very limited knowledge of spirits and demons. She does care. If she didn't care, she wouldn't have asked the question. She has no reason to disbelieve him. So I guess, is there any way that we can prevent demons from... that we can prevent spirits from becoming demons?
Is there a way to coexist? To live with them? If not in peace, at least without such active confrontation.
Not in the world we know today. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one, and it matters that you thought to ask.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
I think in an odd way, I think Aenor wishes that she could ask Solas to teach her about magic. Obviously, she will never do magic. She is not a mage. But I think she would like to learn about the theory of it. She's very interested in magic. I would compare it to her interest in Josephine. She likes Josephine because Josephine's skill set is so unfamiliar to Aenor. Aenor could never hope to be as charismatic and charming and socially savvy as Josephine, but she wants to learn. Similar thing with magic. She will never do magic, but I think she'd like to learn the theory of it because it is... I think she thinks it's beautiful. Beautiful and scary, and, you know, you need to be cautious. You know, don't go into this kind of blindly thinking like, oh, this will be amazing, la 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 la. Like, no, let's not do that. Is no one gonna talk? Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I think she'd like to know more of magic. Just then, I think she'd feel a lot more comfortable with the mark on her hand if she knew a bit more about it. Oh, my train of thought just went off the rails. Shit. I don't think I'm going to be able to complete that thought. So, Leliana, hi there.
It seems Blackwall knows nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us. Even if he was not what I expected. He seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition. As for the other Wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
He's not what you thought he'd be. Interesting. I feel like this is... I feel like this is the, like, were you and Justinia boning? I'm gonna check.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
No.
We'll talk more later.
That's none of Aenor's business.
Yes?
Yes, you are very well connected.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You met the hero Ferelden. Did you know Hawk? How do you know Josephine? Well, considering that Josie is just in that building over there, let's ask about her first.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
Again, that is a reference to Leliana's song back in Origins. Yeah, you met the hero Ferelden. I do think I'm gonna be honest, this really would be an afterthought for Aenor. She really doesn't give a shit about Hawk. That's the nicest way I can put it, because let's be brutally honest, who the fuck is Hawk? Like, yeah, they were the protagonist of Dragon Age 2, but to Aenor, who the hell is Hawk? She was just some random lady who lived in Kirkwall for 7 years. Like, what? Why should I care about that? Like, pardon? The hero of Ferelden, you know, they were a Grey Warden. Arten defeated the Archdemon. She killed the Archdemon and lived. Gonna be honest, I think if Aenor met Arten, I think she'd be very disappointed. Because, you know, Arten really wasn't a hero. Like, she just did what she had to do to get more stuff for Orzammar. I think Aenor would be very disappointed to learn how little of a shit Arten gave about everyone outside of Orzammar.
You have a history with the Warden who entered the Blight, don't you?
I count her among my closest friends. She's probably the only person I trust completely. Haven't heard from her in some time. She just disappeared. I try not to think about what might have happened.
Oh god, Aenor would be very disturbed by that. You know, seeing as we're asking about the hero of Ferelden, go on, tell us about Hawk.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Why?
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Rayo who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
That I do, Leliana. That I do. Now then, Madame de Fer. Hello.
Yes?
Okay, let's see. Yeah, tell me about yourself.
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Where are you from? How did you become a courtier? Well, Let's see. You're clearly not Orlesian. You're lacking the accent. So, how did you get there? Where did you come from?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly are you from?
I am from the Circle, my dear. One's country of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free Marches. I was sent to the Ostwick Circle, but I transferred to Monsignor while still an apprentice.
No, Aenor is not just gonna proposition this random lady.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
Yeah, you're married to a duke?
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine.
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
Hey, nice. Good for you. Good for you.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted this to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, however, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion.
Yes. Prior to Vivienne, the title of, Imperial Court Enchanter, it was like a glorified magical jester. Vivienne was the one who turned it into an actual political power. No,
Yes?
Because we never got to ask about what Bastien's wife thinks about Vivienne.
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Yep.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine.
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
And what does his wife think?
And what does the Duchess de Ghislaine think of this arrangement?
We got along quite well. Duchess Nicoline and I used to host musical salons together. She was a great patron of the arts. She passed away from a fever a few years ago, the poor dear.
Yeah, I think that's nice. To me at least, it seems pretty clear that Bastien and his wife, as Vivienne said, it was a political match. It sounds like they had a very friendly relationship, which is great, but it didn't seem particularly loving. So it is nice to know that his wife was like, oh, you've got a mistress that you're actually, quite happily in love with, and like, oh, we get along. Like, that's lovely. Yeah, good for you, Vivienne.
Thank you for all that you are doing to help.
Yep, and you're gonna walk away.
Greetings, Herald of Andraste.
Again, it's just Aenor or Lavellen, whichever you prefer.
Growing up Dalish, I heard little about your Chantry. Can you tell me about it?
Of course. Too many think that the chant of light should only be sung by humans. The truth is that knowledge of the Maker and Andraste should be open to all who wish to learn of him. We believe the Maker created us, and that mankind's sinful nature caused him to turn away. With Andraste's blessing, the Maker will forgive mankind once the chant of light is sung from all corners of this world.
How do you view magic? Why only human women? What about the Exalted Marches? All very good questions.
What is your stance on magic?
Andraste put it simply. Magic must serve man, not rule over him. However, those words must be put into the proper historical context. Andraste led a rebellion against the Tevinter Imperium, whose magisters controlled most of the world at the time. Even then, she never called for all mages to be put to death. She believed in peaceful coexistence.
Yeah, the Chantry's a bit more stringent than that, though, love.
I don't recall the Chantry being as tolerant of magic as you describe.
No. The Chantry is an imperfect vessel, pulled in every direction by those who would steer its course. Yet the Templars rebelled precisely because divine Justinia was not restrictive enough. Perhaps the Inquisition will find a better way.
Hopefully. Hopefully we can.
Why does the Chantry allow only human women to become priestesses?
The official doctrine is that elves and dwarves have turned further from the Maker than humanity. And as for men, the chant holds that they are more vulnerable to anger or passion. But in truth, it is simply political, added after Andraste's death, like too many of our beliefs.
Oh, there goes my timer, but you gotta love that racism and sexism. Ah, nice.
If you don't believe these restrictions are what Andraste wanted, why haven't you tried to change them?
Has the current state of the world not taught you the folly of fighting too many battles at once? I chose to use what power I had to help peasants forgotten by the nobles of Orlais. I believed there would be time to address their inequality under the Chantry once we had saved them from starving.
And what about the Exalted Marches, the darkest period in the Chantry's history?
There were calls for an exalted march to put down the Mage Rebellion. What was your opinion?
It was ignorant gossip. An exalted march only succeeds when it carries the will of the people. Even then, it cannot be undertaken lightly. People are too easily frightened. We cannot destroy everything they fear. An exalted march is justified only against a true threat to this whole world. It is an offense to the Maker to use it as a political bludgeon, or as a means of spreading the chant of light.
Yeah. Then what was going on with the Dales, love? Here's the thing. I've said this before. Aenor isn't an elfy elf. And here's the thing. Aenor is distrustful of the Chantry. But she's also not like, we must destroy the Chantry, fuck them up, burn the churches, She's not like that, because then it is a very childish way of thinking to be like, oh, you took away my thing, I'm gonna take away your thing in response. Like, Aenor doesn't believe in that. She doesn't believe in tit for tat. She doesn't want to see the Chantry destroyed. She knows what it is like to have your religion almost wiped from the face of the earth. She doesn't want to see that for the Andrastians. She doesn't want them to feel that pain that she feels. At the same time, the Chantry has done awful things. The Chantry did destroy the Dales. They did wipe out her religion, or at least try to. However, here's why I said she's not an elfy elf. Aenor isn't so blind to the faults of her people that she would stand there and say, the elves were innocent in everything. The elves did nothing wrong. We were sat in circles singing Kumbaya when the Chantry forced its way into the Dales, forced their way into Halam Shiral, and kicked us the fuck out like we were doing. Like, no. No, she understands that one of the reasons there was an exalted march on the Dales was because the Dales didn't do jack shit in the I think it was the second blight. The human nations were like, Halam Shiral, please can you help us? And Halam Shiral went, yeah, we didn't get your letter. What do you mean you didn't get our letter? We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're talking to us right now. No, we're not. As they're just closing the doors. Slowly, like, we don't know what's happening, bye! We're just gonna turtle, and the humans were reasonably pissed about this. They were like, the world is ending, and you turtled, what the hell? Like, Aenor understands the Dalish did fuck up. The Dalish, they weren't the Dalish at the time, but the elves fucked up by not being as neighbourly as they could have been. Like, it's one of those things. She's like, we did fuck up, but like, you also completely annihilated us. Was that fair? Like, it'd be one thing to take some of our land and impose restrictions, but like, you robbed us of everything that we had only just begun to reclaim. Like, we weren't innocent victims in all of this, but like, I also do think you went a little bit too far.
A pity voices like yours were not louder when an exalted march crushed my people.
That is a hotly debated matter in some circles of the Chantry. Your people had conquered Mont Semerd and threatened Valreo itself. They were not helpless victims. But even then, Orlais was the only nation to provide troops. It was hardly an exalted march of all the faithful. The Maker wishes his world to spread by example, not by war. We win no converts with blood.
Farewell.
Farewell.
Indeed. And I am out of time for this episode. In the next one, we go have a chat with the ever so lovely Josephine, and then we sort out the war table. But until then, please remember to like if... Sir, how dare you? Please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.
When there was no